Marvel Rivals. That's funny. GG Warriors, I am the console warrior, but you can call me console. And welcome to a different type of video. This is technically going to be my second tier list on the channel. And it's about Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl. At least the series. And I mentioned this in my IRO video. But I wanted to talk about each characters from both NASB 1 and NASB 2. And talk about which characters should come back and return, and which ones should be cut if there were to be a NASB 3. Now, I think there's benefits from having a NASB 3. One of them is because, I feel like they could combine what was great about both NASB 1 and NASB 2. It could also benefit NASB players if they give them more DLC, because NASB 2's roster is kind of weird, and is probably the biggest criticism that people have for this game, especially with the Season 1 DLC pack. So really, they could just add more characters that we do want. But I think there is a benefit from having a NASB 3 if that's the case. The only issue is, will the game do well? Because I feel like a lot of people kind of didn't want to get into NASB 2 because of how weird some of these choices were. But I'll probably talk about those points while I get to this video. So let's start off with SpongeBob characters. So I'm going to do what everyone's thinking, and put SpongeBob and Patrick up there, because these characters should be in every game. In fact, I'm going to change that to should be in every game. First of all, SpongeBob. I think that's a very obvious pick. He is the face of Nickelodeon. I'm pretty sure Nickelodeon loves him. He's the face of Nickelodeon, as where Mario is Nintendo or Mickey Mouse is Disney. You have to put him in your game. If he's not in your game, then what are you doing? You know what I mean? He's iconic. And there's a reason why there's so many characters added in the game. As for Patrick, he's basically the Luigi of the series. Sure, he's a very unique character compared to SpongeBob, unlike Luigi, but he is the number 2, and I feel like he should be in this game as well. Like, it feels weird not having Patrick, you know? But I think, yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say here with these two. Now, I think this one is going to be a little more kind of iffy here. And I'm going to start with, Sandy, I feel like definitely should be in the game. But I don't mind her being in this game. Same thing with Squidward. These two, I think, are a good rotation. So what I believe a rotation is what I mean by rotation is that in NASB 1 we got Sandy, but in NASB 2 we got Squidward. And I feel like for these two, having them as rotation is actually kind of good. The thing is, they can't put in every single character. They can't return every single character, because Nickelodeon is not a video game franchise. They are, well, I don't know. I think they're like an animation franchise, right? Or a company, animation company. Their priority is not the games. I mean, maybe it's something. Maybe it isn't animation company, but their priority is not through the games. So I understand why they wouldn't do it. They're not like Nintendo, where they can put every single character from past games into the game. And even then, I know Nintendo is not going to do that again. The fact is, there's going to be cuts, no matter how we want or not. Especially when we want to make room for newer characters. Now, to me, in NASB 1, I always preferred Squidward over Sandy. I feel like he is, the third most iconic character among these two. In fact, he might be the most popular next to SpongeBob. But if we got a NASB 2 and he got cut for Sandy, I think that would be completely fine as well, right? I feel like it'd be fine if they got rotated. Either way, they basically rotated him anyways, right? But the thing is, we're not going to get every single character, and I think that's for the best. I like seeing new characters. You need to make sure the games are fresh, and ultimately, you can't put every single character back in every single game. And especially when there's when we have to make room for other stuff like content. Because I feel like a game like Smash needs more than just fighting characters. I mean, Smash Ultimate has a lot of good content, but I feel like we lost so much with so many characters, like no Target Smash. We got World of Light, which is, is okay. It's not Subspace Emissary, but considering how they feel about Subspace Emissary, I don't think we're going to get something like that anytime soon. For this game, they actually have some decent content. But yeah, I think for these two characters, I feel like they should be rotated. Now, Plankton. Plankton's kind of a weird thing. I feel like, I don't know if I could say he'd be a rotation character, but I would definitely put him on definitely, you know. I think we need villains. Villains are very important, and Plankton is the most iconic SpongeBob villain, so why wouldn't you put him? He's one of the main characters, really, and so that's why I think he should be definitely, but I don't think he needs to be rotation either. I feel like having 4 characters for SpongeBob is enough, right? I mean, it's okay if you have 5, but I think if we were to pick 4, I would pick definitely these 2, maybe, and definitely Plankton, but rotation between these guys. If we have all 5 of them, I'd be okay with that. I think that'd be a good option. And SpongeBob being the biggest, Nintendo's or Nickelodeon's, one of Nickelodeon's biggest franchises of all time, it makes sense why they would have so many, right? So I think having 4 to 5 is good. Then there's Mr. Krabs. I'm gonna put in maybe. I'm not gonna say he's gone or doesn't need to, but I feel like out of the bunch here, he doesn't need, like, we don't really need him. He's a very unique character, which is nice, but I don't think Mr. Krabs is the most necessary. I think the reason why I chose Sandy over Mr. Krabs is just, well, Sandy's a girl, and you need our female representation every so often. But, like, I don't know. I don't think we really need Mr. Krabs. One character idea that I thought about is having Bubble Bass. And I say that because I think it'd be funny. Like, I like seeing more obscure characters be brought in. And if we have that, like, I feel like it'd be a fun joke character. But I think if we were to make, to me, NASB 3 should be a mixture of all the great things of the first 2 games. So I don't think we should get Bubble Bass, at least, unless we're going to keep getting more Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl games. But I personally, I would prefer having a mixture of the bunch, and I think that's why I want, like, for that type of for that concept, I just don't think Bubble Bass would be good for it, especially since people are probably going to want more of these guys. I that's just me. Anyways, now for the second biggest Nickelodeon franchise, and the reason why it has so many characters, the Avatar, which is one of my favorite series in Nickelodeon. And like I said, I think they deserve a big chunk of the rep that it gets. So I am going to do the one thing that I feel Nick All-Star Brawl 2 couldn't do, and Toph should definitely be in the game. In fact, I would even say we should get Toph more than Aang. And mainly because Toph is easily the most popular character in the Avatar, for a lot of reasons that I don't need to get into. I just know people like her a lot. Like, the fact that she wasn't in NASB 2 is crazy. Now, for Aang, I can see why people would say he should be in the game. He is the main protagonist, but I also wouldn't mind if Aang just didn't come back. I'm not even sure how popular Aang is. I know he is popular, but is he more popular than Toph? Is he more popular than Zuko? Now, Zuko is one of my favorites. I don't know if I could put him, should be in the game. If anything, I think he'd be better rotation. But I definitely don't think he should rotate with Toph, you know what I mean? Toph is not the character I think she should be in every game, right? So I could understand that. And speaking of the reason why I think he should be rotation, is Azula. So Azula is a very, like, interesting case. So, like I said, Zuko is one of my favorite characters. I would even say that he might be my favorite Nickelodeon character of all time. That is a very hard statement to claim. And I'm not entirely sure if that is true, but I don't see any other ideas that's pushing me there. But I never once thought about Azula being in the game, and I think that is such an amazing pick. Like I said, having more female reps is good. But having villain reps is also good, and Azula is easily one of the most iconic villains in Nickelodeon's history. She's more iconic than her dad, and she's the main threat. Or sorry, the dad is the main threat, and I don't know, I'm not gonna lie, her dad is not really that iconic. I don't even remember what he did other than that one episode where Aang dreamt about his pants being pulled down by Fire Lord Ozai. Either way, I think the Azula should definitely come back in the game. She's an amazing pick. I wish I thought of it. But I feel like because there's so many Avatar characters that we will include in this game, that's why I'm not sure if Zuko can come back. You know, if he did, who would he rotate with? Actually, that's a good question. I might put him in maybe for that reason. In fact, I feel like maybe I'll put Mr. Krabs that doesn't need to, because I don't want to put him in the same tier. As for Korra is a weird situation. I haven't watched Korra myself, and I don't really know what the opinion on Korra. From what I understand, I think people like the Legend of Korra, but I heard the ending wasn't the best, you know. But I also hear that people criticize Legend of Korra, or at least it's not as bad as some people may put it out. I think people still like it. From what I'm watching, I like it so far, and I do like Korra the most. But I'm not sure where I would put him. I would probably put her, definitely for me right now, but I could see the argument for her should be in every game, you know? Would there be any other Korra characters? I wouldn't know. Let me know in the comments if there's any, characters you'd like to see from The Legend of Korra. I think the villain that people like, I think that the villain in that game, or in the first season, the first season of that show, people like him. I forget his name, but I think he does seem kind of interesting so far. He's kind of scary, you know. So I could see him coming in. That'd be kind of cool. But I feel like Azula is a priority. Now for Iroh. All right, this is the first gun in the video here. Okay, Iroh is a very weird pick. All right, to me, he is easily one of the worst parts of the Season 1 pass of the DLC. But the thing is, Iroh is definitely popular. In fact, I would even say he could be a rotation character alongside Zuko if that was the case. But he did not need to be in this game. He should have been saved for another game. But if we want to see a mixture of the bunch, I don't think we need Iroh. One of the biggest issues that Season 1 had was that there are so many Avatar characters. I wanted to call it Fire Emblem for some reason. And, well, for another reason, there's so many fire characters that I don't think that's a good thing. I think having variety is very good, and if you don't show that variety, that kind of makes a series look bad, you know? Either way, I don't think we need Iroh. Iroh is a very popular character. He's arguably one of the most popular characters. Or he's the least hated. But I feel like we didn't really need him. I feel like if he was part of Zuko's, victory animations, like Little Mac and Doc Lewis, or maybe in the campaign, I think that'd be kind of cool. And even then, just imagine what the roster could have been, man. We could have gotten all 5 of these characters. Look how good this roster is. If we were to get 5 Avatar characters, this looks amazing, right there, right? Where are you? Maybe. That looks fantastic. And look, heck, we got all 5 elements, secondly. Air, water, earth, fire. It represents the series really well. And again, if we were to allow a 5th character, Zuko would be awesome. But, and I think this is my main argument to why I think a NASB 3 should exist. Because if we were to get another season pass and we include Toph, and then we get 6 characters, and I don't think we need that anymore. So if anything, I'd like a NASB 3 so we can have Toph in the game, and not have any more Fire Emblem characters. Or sorry, I said it anyways. Okay. All right. Bumpy Gaming's not gonna like this. Let's go with the big oof. Okay, so Loud House is a very I think for this community is somewhat of a mixed series. A lot of people don't really care about Loud House, especially since the main audience for this game to me are the adults like myself who grew up with the old series. Look at all these classic cartoons: Danny Phantom, Hey Arnold, the Wild Thornberries, Rugrats, Cat Dog. All these. Look at these guys. It's clearly aimed for the adult audience, and I think that's why Lincoln wasn't added. I think it makes sense why we actually got rid of Lincoln. The thing is, Loud House is still a very popular series. All right. Mainly for the newer generation and families alike. I know some friends who actually do like Loud House, including a brother of mine. In fact, he's actually a Lucy main. If for those who don't know, he doesn't play the game anymore, but he did like playing as Lucy. So to me, I guess it makes sense. I could totally see the argument for both characters coming back, or maybe we can get a new character. But I'm gonna say this: I'm gonna put Lucy here because I think she's a great pick, and I don't want to get rid of her. I think most people do like Lucy. But I could see Lincoln coming back, but I'll put this as a rotation. I think that's fine. And you know what? Being a rotation, I think would make sense because maybe we can get a new Loud House character, you know? I don't know. I'd be fine with, like, we don't really need Lincoln, but I would not complain if he did, alright? I'm just thinking about the overall thing. But again, I think the reason why Lincoln wasn't added was because it's aiming towards the more older audience, you know? For the nostalgia. We don't need any more than just 2. So I know that one's kind of a mixed opinion, and trust me, I don't really want Lincoln either because I don't care about the Loud House. I thought the show was okay, but it's not really a priority that I want. But I think it's fair to put him at rotation, and I think Lucy should be in the game because I doubt that they would get rid of any Loud House characters because it is right now their biggest franchise, which is kind of wild to say. It's kind of wild to say, man. All right. So here's the next one, the next big cash cow that Nickelodeon has, and I'm just gonna do this really quickly. So, in the last game we got Leonardo and Michelangelo, but in this game we got Raphael and Donatello. To me, there's no such thing as a good roster cut, but there's nothing wrong with them. I think it's okay to have cuts, especially, you know, as I stated before, the mini arguments. And I feel like the Turtles are a big reason for that. There's so many characters, I don't think it'd be good to add them all anyways. Imagine if we just got these 4, right? But here's another reason. The problem I have with the Turtles all being in the game is, again, variety. If your characters all look the same, that doesn't really make this series look good. Am I complaining about the designs being different? No. I like that they have similar designs. In fact, I don't really like the major changes that they have in other content, you know? I'm gonna say it. I'm not a big fan of Big Raphael. I think he should be small. My favorite version of the Turtles was the 2012 one, I think. And he was a short guy. He was shorter than everyone. He was like the Wolverine, you know? The short and eager one, or at least the short and bad attitude one. So, I think having them as rotation is for the best, but I'll do you one better. I'm gonna do something that I think most people wouldn't really think about, and I'm gonna do this. So, my favorite character is actually Leonardo. It seems like he's the least favorite character. At least my favorite in, like, all of Turtles. I'm not just talking about this series. I think in this series, they're very simple. And for the series that it has, it's okay. But Michelangelo is the most popular character. In fact, he represents the main things that makes the Turtles themselves. One, he's a party dude. He is the most party dude out of everyone here. He's the one who's going to be chucking the pizza, you know, having the party, you know, playing the skates. I think his voice gives off this, like, what, 80s, 90s skater dude vibe. Plus, he's a ninja. And, well, of course, he's a turtle, too. That's another one, but that's not the point. I mean, I think that's kind of obvious. So, if anyone has to stay in this game, I feel like Michelangelo should be in it. In fact, I'm gonna say it right now, this is the part where I feel like is gonna be the most mixed opinion out of everyone here. I think all we need is Michelangelo. I know that's something that most people wouldn't agree with, but I feel like all we need is Michelangelo. In fact, I think what would be cool is that if maybe all the 3 turtles that we have here, they could be part of Michelangelo's moveset somewhere. You know? Have them support Michelangelo in some way. Maybe that his side special can be Leonardo, and all that stuff. I don't know. This is some ideas, right? I don't think we really need it, but I think that'd be kind of cool because the show isn't called One Turtle. It's called the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. These guys are all equally main characters. You need to have all four, and that's the argument I think people are saying with these. So I think having them all, like, at least support Michelangelo would be kind of cool. Or they could just be put in the Final Smash, or the Super, I mean. That, and it could be a cool reference to The Last Ronin, which I am excited for, by the way. I'm not going to say anything other than that, but it'd be a neat reference, and either way, I would be completely fine if we just got Michelangelo out of the four turtles. Again, if they add the other characters, that's not a bad thing too. I feel like all we need is Michelangelo. Alright, April should be in the game, in every game, yeah. The reason why I say this because, okay, first of all, variety. She stands out from the rest of the cast. Like, well, yeah, I mean, they all, like, seriously, the Turtles and the next three. Yeah, the next three characters we're gonna look and show a lot of variety. But, you know, another thing, she's a female representation. That's good. I don't know. I think April should be in every game. I think she's a cool idea. And then there's Shredder. I'm gonna. Why is he not in this game? Okay, I know why. It's because the bosses. But you could have just chose Krang for that, in my opinion. I think Krang would have been a better boss character than Shredder. The thing is, Shredder is a very iconic villain in general. A, we get more villains. And B, Shredder is cool. Everyone likes Shredder. And I really like how they portray the Shredder too. Like in this show, the Shredder was like kind of a joke villain. Which isn't really something that I think Shredder is thought of. I don't think people think of Shredder as a joke villain. But I feel like they kind of combine what we think of Shredder is, who Shredder is, and what the 90s Shredder is. Or 80s Shredder, I think. Because he's kind of goofy, he's kind of silly, but he's still threatening. He's still a menacing villain. And Jim Cummings, I think his name is? Cummings. Yeah, Jim Cummings does an amazing job. Not the original voice for him, but he does. I love his voice in this game. He's also the voice of Dr. Robotnik from the old Saturday AM cartoons from Sonic. And Winnie the Pooh, which is kind of funny. And many other characters. I just feel like he should be in the game, you know. Just maybe nerf him a little bit. I'm just... Or at least make him less... You know, stupid, I guess. In the moveset. Because he was kind of weird in that game. Yeah, well, I can't believe I put 3 Turtles characters and should be in every game. Now, I do think adding characters is very important. I'm not trying to say that we should only get characters that we have already. I think it's also important to have new characters as well. I think it'd be cool to add, like, what's his name? Casey Jones, is that his name? I don't know who else they can add. Maybe they could add, what's his name? Leatherhead? Maybe Leatherhead's not this character I'm thinking of. I don't know. Maybe they could add another character, or they could just add another turtle. I don't really know who else they can add. Now for the last one, and I think you guys know what I'm gonna do. Look, I like Rocksteady in this game a lot. In my Rocksteady video, a lot of people tell me that they love him, that he's a funny character. And he is. But he's Lightning KO's main, so I gotta slap him in here. And, yeah, just kidding. But yeah, I think Rocksteady is another character that makes the Season 1 pass not that good. I feel like these two especially don't need to be in this game. We didn't really need Mr. Krabs, but again, I don't have a problem with him. It's just we didn't really need him considering we had 4 SpongeBob mains and such, right? But again, if they had 5, I wouldn't complain either. These two definitely didn't need to be in there. And Rocksteady's such a weird pick, because, like, who really wanted Rocksteady? I don't even remember Rocksteady that much, other than he's one of Shredder's goons. And, you know, again, you can like the character. I think it's very important that we all have bias. And I'm not saying you're biased. I'm saying we all do. I have bias. And that's okay. I'm gonna probably pick ones that I want because I like them a lot. But at the end of the day, it's just, you gotta remember, it is just an opinion. And I don't really like bringing that up because I feel like that should be knowledge. But I feel like that's important People will have bias. Everyone has bias. You can't live a life without bias. And there's nothing wrong with that. Just don't be mean about people when you think they're being biased. Like, it doesn't change anything. Anyways, next characters. Okay, I'm gonna put Ren and Stimpy up here as well. From what I'm told, Ren and Stimpy is a very, like, iconic show. I think people talk about how it did something different and stuff. And, you know, it did some really crazy things. I mean, for the most part, it says it's a kid's show, but it clearly is aimed for adults. I remember watching this as a kid. Every time I visited my grandma when I was little, she had these orange tapes. These old, no, we didn't have DVDs back then. For those who are, you know, who were still, you know, who were born in 2010. We had these orange tapes, and that just proves that's my certificate that I'm a 90s kid. And these tapes were we had a whole collection of Ren and Stimpy show episodes, you know, like at least one, like a few episodes and stuff. And then we had another one with the Christmas special, which is the movie, which was something, I'll say that. And why did my grandma let me watch this? Probably because we didn't really have strict rules back then. I think nowadays we have much more strict rules. In fact, that's why we got an adult show for this show. But will we ever get a new show for kids? Probably not, and maybe that wouldn't be for the best. Either way, I feel like Ren and Stimpy are like the most important here. I feel like if you had to take any Ren and Stimpy character, if you had to pick one, it'd definitely be Ren and Stimpy. But now for Powder Toast Man. Like I said, I watched only 2 tapes. I don't know a lot of Ren and Stimpy, and I'm not gonna lie, I didn't know about Powder Toast Man until NASB 1. Okay. But I knew people were excited for him. I knew some friends were excited for him. So I feel like, and I think he is a fun choice. I think that's hilarious. Ren and Stimpy, I think, was big enough to deserve at least 2 reps, from what I understand. So I think he definitely could come back. But if they don't, then it's not a big deal. I think Powder Toast Man was my fourth worst cut in the game, in my opinion. He was the fourth worst. I think Toph was my second. We'll get to the first one when we get there. But yeah, he was definitely my 4th worst. It might be 3 now because I do have a different opinion back then. But I think Powder Toast Man is a funny character. I think it'd be kind of cool if they brought him back. And he stands out a lot. He represents what Nickelodeon is. Just a bunch of weird cartoons, you know? What we love about Nickelodeon. So yeah, I feel like he should definitely come back. If they can, right? Now for Zim, yeah, I think it's pretty clear. Invader Zim is just as big as pretty much has type of iconicness to it. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised. I would be okay if they added a second character in the game. I don't know who, because I ain't gonna lie, I didn't watch Invader Zim because that show was scary for me. That show, Courage the Cowardly Dog, for some reason not Billy and Mandy. Okay, Billy and Mandy wasn't that scary, but I couldn't watch those shows. I'm not gonna lie. There's this episode where I think he eats people and he gets fat, and I don't know, it was kind of gross. But I know this is a very popular show. I think it's like a big show for Hot Topic. I know a lot of girls like this show. I think that's kind of like, and I know Gurr especially. I know Gurr's a chick magnet. I'm just saying. But yeah, he should definitely come back in, and I don't know why they wouldn't. I think it makes sense if they ever had a second character. But Invader Zim is all we got. Now for Cat Dog. So Cat Dog was actually my 3rd worst cut. But actually now I can understand why they did it. I would say definitely, but they don't need to come back, I would say. Cat Dog, I think, I think old 90s cartoons were a lot of people's, there's a lot of people's favorites, and this one is definitely one of them. I did watch a bit too. I did think it was weird though. I'll say that. I thought it was really weird then. But yeah, I definitely think they definitely can make it. In fact, I'm kind of curious what they would have done if they did, but I don't think they need to get in here. In fact, let's actually bring the other reason. I also feel the same thing with these guys. I feel like Cat and Dog is more iconic, but I feel like the main reason why they decided to choose them over Cat Dog for the second game. In fact, actually, I think it's more of a rotation, really. That's why they are both the tag characters, right? And they would want to have one or two. I could see why they were chosen. Like, I feel like they were chosen to replace Cat Dog, not because they were preferred, but because they wanted to have like different characters. You know what I mean? And yeah, I feel like they would be great tag characters. If they were to a third tag character, I feel like I could do Cow and Chicken, but that was another show I didn't really like. I think I disliked that one more than everything else. But I think that would be cool, like another tag character that they could do. Again, I'm speaking with keeping in mind with everyone else. You know, I'm trying to think of what's the best options for everyone, not just for me. You know what I mean? Like I mean Zuko again. Why my number one Nickelodeon character, presumably, in maybe. Am I biased? Heck yeah. In fact, I think I'm incredibly biased. Anyways, yeah, yes. In fact, I feel like he was definitely chosen for the memes, and especially for a Smash player that is kind of known for picking him. In fact, I know they designed that character for that Smash character, so having him in every game, I think makes sense. The thing is, I would be fine if all we got was Nigel. I know someone who was like wondering why what's her name, the main character wasn't in the game, but again, I think Nigel was definitely a better choice, and I do like that they chose characters that are not the main character over the other one. You know, pick what people want, right? I think Nigel is what people want. I didn't really watch the show though, I'll say that, but Nigel was the one I think I could remember the most of. In fact, speaking of picking the character that they want instead of the protagonist, when are we gonna get Arnold in the game? My goodness, they literally gonna add every other character but Arnold, and I think that'd be funny. But hey, I mean, if they add Arnold in the game, I think that'd be kind of cool. But if I had to choose, what my opinion for these are. So right now my second most worst cut in the game for me was Toph. Then I think now it's Powdered Toast Man. And I would say that maybe Cat Dog is there too. Maybe I would tie them there. But to me it was Helga. Helga is another worst pick. I think at least they're definitely my top 5, right? 2, 3, 4, 5, not in specifically that order. But like I feel like I didn't grow up with Helga or Hey Arnold at all. My mom actually didn't want me to watch it because guess why? She didn't like this character being the weirdo that she is. But she was the one I think I remember the most. In fact, I probably didn't even know who Graham McGurdy was. I remember him because he's usually with Arnold. But I feel like she should definitely make it in there. In fact, I feel like I might even say she should be in every game. But the reason I'm not entirely sure if I want to put her there because there are other choices that you could pick. So I'm going to put you at definitely. In fact, if we can get her and Arnold, I think that'd be kind of satisfying as well. Maybe they could add Pigeon Man. I know that episode's pretty popular. But honestly, if we can get Helga and Arnold, I think that'd be kind of cool. Or just add every other character that is Arnold. I think it'd be funny. As for these guys, I'll just say rotation because I don't really know them that well. I think Grandma Gertie is a fun pick because she's Captain Falcon, and you know I think Gerald is there too. Like if they can add like Helga and Gerald, or maybe Helga and Grandma Gertie, I think that'd be fine. But rotation I think is a good plot. Danny Phantom, yeah, I think it was a pretty clear spot here. Danny like to me the 4 big franchises growing up was SpongeBob, Danny Phantom, Jimmy Neutron, and Fairly Odd Parents. And that mainly because of Nick and I. I've never played it, but to me that game made me think those were the big 4. These were the most popular shows. But yeah, I feel like Danny Phantom has to be in the game. Imagine putting your Nick All-Stars game and not having Danny Phantom. Meanwhile, Fairly Odd Parents is crying in the corner. Right now, my most wanted pick is Chip Skylark, and I wouldn't mind if they got Chip Skylark over Timmy Turner. In fact, considering how weird the copyright is for Fairly Odd Parents, because I know that's the main reason, because Timmy is owned by many people, so they have to get the copyright of all those people. I think maybe they could pick a character that isn't Timmy, that is from Fairly Odd Parents. Apparently, Poof is in the Nick Kart racing game, and not Timmy. I think that's further proof of it, right? Am I asking for Poof? No, I don't think Poof should be in the game. But hey, maybe another character could. I don't know. They might have to get a certain singer to come back. Then we got Ember. Ember is a weird pick for me. Personally, I think it's really cool that they chose Ember. I'm not gonna say she should be in every game. I heard it was either her or Vlad, and well, I wouldn't mind if they gave us Vlad. I think maybe they could add Vlad in this game instead. I don't know. Maybe rotation is where I should put it. Again, I remember watching Danny Phantom, but I don't remember too much. I think Ember has a cool design. I'll say that. I love her design. She's very 90s metalhead. I personally like the metalhead stuff, so it really appeals to me, right? But Vlad, I think, could be cool to have it as the game. And again, more villains, you know? If they can add all three, that'd be kind of cool too. But I don't know if that's going to happen. But yeah, I'll put Ember in rotation for the sake of Vlad. I don't know if there's any other characters they can add, but I feel like Vlad is an obvious pick that's going to... if they're going to... They have to choose a new one, because that was the one that they were considering. But then instead, he was the boss, or the main villain of the campaign. Alright, now for Oblina. Okay, so another show that I don't remember watching. I think I remember it once in my past until NASB 1. I ain't gonna lie. I'll put you in a maybe, because again, I'm not that familiar with it, but clearly it's big enough to put in the show. Plus, she's another female, which I think is good. So I'll just leave it at that. Let me know if there's any Oblina fans. I know one person who did main her, because they were, I think, a 90s kid like me. I think. I don't know. But I could definitely put maybe. But what do you guys think of Real Monster fans? Do you think we should get more? I mean, I think you guys are obviously going to say that, but obviously yes, because you're fans. Why wouldn't they? Okay. Let's just move on. Garfield. All right. I don't know what my opinion on Garfield being in the game was so weird. Apparently I was against him because he never really felt like a Nickelodeon character. Which is, honestly, now that I look back at it, that is such a dumb opinion. But, hey, they own Garfield, he should be in the game. If they owned Goku, I would want him in the game too. Would there be any other characters that they could add for Garfield? I don't know. I feel like all we need is Garfield. He is iconic, so he definitely deserves the reps. But I don't know who else they can add. Maybe they could add John Arbuckle. I think he's just as memey as Garfield is. In fact, I think he is the victim of all these Garfield memes that we've been getting. But yeah, I think Garfield should definitely be in the game. Jenny, another should be in this game. This was another cartoon. I think I remember Jenny as much as I remember Danny, where I did watch it, but I don't remember much. But yeah, I think Jenny should be in the game. I think Season 1's DLC was so amazing, and she was definitely one of them. But that's all I'm gonna say, because I don't remember anyone else. Let me know if you guys want to see any other characters from Jenny the Teenage Robot. Now for Jimmy Neutron. So, I don't know what I would consider my favorite cartoon of all time. Probably, it's definitely up there with SpongeBob and Avatar. Well, maybe not of all time. For Nickelodeon, my bad. I don't even know if I could say that of all time either. Jeez. But for Nickelodeon cartoons, SpongeBob and Aang or Avatar was definitely up there. Avatar was that show that I watched many times. I watched throughout it a lot, and it was one of the shows I watched with my mom, which is, I think, has some type of meaning to it to me. But if I had to pick a third one, that would definitely be Jimmy Neutron. In fact, I'm gonna do this right now. They should definitely come back. In fact, I think Jimmy deserves 3 or 4, bro. Okay, Danny probably could have 3. I was okay with having Danny up there. Fairly Odd Parents, definitely. But first of all, Hugh Neutron is the #1 worst cut in the entire game. This is not only something that a lot of fans wanted. A big petition came in, or not petition, or hashtag for him to come in. Mark DiCarlo, the voice of Hugh Neutron, was completely up for it. Why did they cut him? And the fact is, he was one of the he was easily the best part of that DLC, especially because how hype and wanted he was. He was hyped because of how much popular he was, and we actually got him in the game. And the fact is, we didn't even get Jimmy Neutron in the game, which is like, what, does Jimmy also have like a bad copyright? I don't know. But the sad part is, being a DLC character, meaning he came in when the game was at its worst, or when the game was dying. People were stopping to play this game, so people just came back for Hugh Neutron, and maybe came back for the next character, and then that's all we got from it. You know, we didn't get to see a lot of Hugh Neutron. I think that's why it's such a bad cut to me. If he was in base game from the beginning, it would be bad. It wouldn't be as bad. I don't know if I would say he's my worst cut, but I could still see him as the worst cut because Hugh Neutron's amazing. Jimmy Neutron, I also feel that way too. In fact, I don't know. I could even say rotation with him, but I don't really know who else to add, to be honest. I feel like all we need is these two. Like I feel like Carl would be the biggest pick after that, and then I don't know, maybe Sheen. I know Carl is definitely the more popular of Sheen. I know, and Sheen got his own show, which there's a whole can of worms. Anyone else? I don't know. There's a lot of iconic villains they could add too, but I honestly wouldn't mind if they just didn't give us the villains. I think if we were to get a villain, it'd be one of the Yokian King. I forgot his name. I have the movie, by the way. I have the first movie. In fact, I reference Hugh Neutron's scene all the time. If all your friends were named Cliff, would you jump off of them? I reference it in the Hugh Neutron video. But yeah, I think they should definitely come back. I think Jimmy definitely deserves to have more reps. And honestly, I would not mind if all we got with these two. But if they got another one, that'd be cool. I feel like this is my OCD speaking, but if they had Carl, they also have to add Sheen. I feel like they are a duo, you know. But yeah, I think this is yeah, Jimmy Neutron definitely deserves it. I think I like Jimmy Neutron more than SpongeBob, maybe. That could be it. That could be a big thing. But yeah, I don't know what else to say here. Alright, Rocco. So Rocco is kind of a weird pick. Another show that Steven Hillenburg made, but it's definitely overshadowed by, you know, the big S right here. I'm gonna put definitely. I'm not that knowledgeable with Rocco, especially since I haven't watched the show myself, and it is one of the shows I want to watch. I said that it was my #1 most wanted pick, but I feel like it's starting to go down more because I have other shows that I kind of want to watch. But I don't know. Like I didn't think definitely is fine. LT Gray. Oh, we got our last pick. Oh, I forgot these two were technically in the game or in here already. I don't know about LT Gray either. I probably put definitely here. I remember watching the first season as a kid. I think that was the only season we got because apparently it didn't do well, or it didn't do well with views, which is a shame because I know a lot of people think it's a great show. Plus, hey, as a Mexican, you know, Mexican representation is you know, good for me. You know, I appreciate it. But I don't know, like I think definitely is a good pick. I was actually thinking about maybe for a second, but like I don't know. I feel like that maybe definitely is a good spot for him right now. And of course Reptar, which I joked about him being #1 because he is one of my mains alongside Zuko. And well, I think Reptar, like I didn't even think about Reptar being in the game. I had no idea about thinking about what I would want for a Nick Smash Bros game. But Reptar is such a good pick because Rugrats is probably one of Nickelodeon's biggest franchises back then in the 90s too. In fact, I would say it's right up there with SpongeBob, Fairly Odd Parents, Jimmy Neutron, and Danny Phantom. And the only reason why they're not in Nick Unite is because why would you put babies in the game? In fact, that's actually the reason why I think Reptar is a good pick over any of the babies, because who'd want to be the babies? But yeah, I just know that, you know, there's you know, people are biased, you know, people can be biased, and that's okay, you know. Why did I do that? Reptar. There we go. There we go. Perfect. Ignore the incorrect thing, I guess. I know I spelled it right. It's wrong. So yeah, like I said, this is only a video on characters who I think should be cut and who I think should stay in the game if we were to get in the game. I think if we were to get a new game, I think definitely have new characters as well. Again, it's not really ordered on which one I want more. Like, I don't think it really matters. Like, I don't need, like, LT Gray being up here doesn't really change much. They're all equally definitely, right? But yeah, if, like, we should have new characters. I'd like to see some Fairly Odd Parents reps. Maybe, what else could I want? I don't know, I guess that's it. Fairly Odd Parents is the only thing that's missing. I'd say that this is a really good list for me. But if we were to have a Nick All-Star 3, I think this is definitely what we should be considering. If we got a Nick All-Stars 2 and we got a new season, I feel like a new season for Nick All-Stars 2 is good because season 2, because Nick All-Stars 2 is easily I think is a great game, right? The only issue was its roster. So really, all we need was just a new roster adding characters that we do want. But the reason why I think a Nick All-Star Brawl 3 is better is because I feel like you can't add top because we have so many Avatar characters. With all the Avatar characters, we don't like that'd be too many Avatar characters, and I think she should be in the game. So I think that's the main thing I would want for a NASB 3. But again, season 2 is something that would be nice. Maybe add some old cut characters. And maybe a mixture of like what made NASB 2 and NASB 1 a bit gameplay-wise. I definitely think focus more on NASB 2's gameplay. But yeah, let me know in the comments what you disagree, what you agree. You can even chew my head off. And again, this is not considering new characters as well. So yeah, I think this is perfect. But yeah, with that said, I am the Console Warrior, and I hope to see you guys next time. See ya!